All right, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at how we can solve quadratic equations by factoring. Now, you guys just came off a big, massive worksheet on factoring, so you should have that skill down. Let's see how we can use that skill to help us solve an equation. The first thing we want to start off with is something called the zero property of multiplication. Basically, it says the zero property of multiplication says if I have two numbers multiplied, say the first number is A and the second number is B, and I get 0. Well, what do I know about one of those numbers? Well, doesn't either A have to be 0 or doesn't B have to be 0? I know that. If I have two things multiplied to give me 0, one of these has to be 0. Is that the same? Is that the same for addition? If I have A plus B, equals 0, do one of those numbers have to be 0? No, they don't. They could be, gosh, anything as long as they're opposite signs. But with the zero property of multiplication, now that's a special rule. I know that one of these has to be 0. Either A or B. Right? Well, because of that, when I factor, I know that I take three things or two things that are added, and I can turn those into two things multiplied to get me 0. Well, the most important rule then when you're solving quadratics is you always want to start by making one side 0. Let's take a look-see. Look at this example I've got on the board. I've got 5x squared minus 7x plus 112 equals 6x plus 118. Now again, is one of my sides 0? No. So let's make one side 0. Let's subtract the 6x to the left. Let's subtract the 118 to the left. When I do that, I get 5x squared minus 13x minus 6 equals 0. Now, do I have the zero property of multiplication on this left side? Or two of these things, do I have two things multiplied to get me 0? No, I don't, right? So, because of that, I'm not ready to solve, right? By the way, you should ask yourself, can I SAD map this equation? And the answer to that is no. If I've got multiple different x's here that I can't combine into a single x, then I can't SAD map, right? So, since I can't SAD map it, watch how factoring will help me. Ladies and gentlemen, because I have 5x squared minus 13x minus 6 equals 0, if I factor this, I would probably get something like, 5x plus 2 times x minus 3 equals 0. Now, take a look at this. Now I have two things multiplying to get me 0. I've got this first parenthesis called A, and I've got this second one, B, right? I know that whenever I multiply two things to get me 0, either A equals 0 or B equals 0. Correct? Well, because of that, I can write two different equations. I can say either 5x plus 2 equals 0, or x minus 3. This parenthesis has to equal 0 by the, again, zero property of multiplication. Now look, take a look at this. By doing this, I've taken a really complex looking equation that wasn't SAD mappable, and I busted him up into two very SAD mappable equations. Guys, this equation is really easy to get x alone. When you just subtract 2, divide by 5, and get x equals negative 2/5. On the other equation, if I subtract or add the variables, wouldn't I just get x equals 3? So as you can see, by taking this equation right here that wasn't SAD mappable and factoring it, I can use the zero property of multiplication to create one equation and another equation that are both easily SAD mappable. Okay? Let's take a look at one more example. If I've got 9x squared equals 18x, well, again, I need to start by making one side 0. So I go 9x squared minus 18x equals 0. Can I factor anything out? Well, sure. I can factor out a 9 and an x. By doing that, I get x minus 2 equals 0. Now I've got two things multiplied to get me 0. This is my A, this is my B. So either the A expression has to equal 0, or the B expression has to equal 0. If you divide both sides by 9, don't you get x equals 0 from the first equation? If you add 2 across, I get x equals 2. And again, so that's how factoring and the zero property of multiplication will help me solve a quadratic by factoring. See ya.